I actually believe that every single thing that's showing up right now for me, every single thing that's happening in my life right now is happening in my highest and best good. I went back to journaling again this morning, which I've really fallen off my journaling practice, and I journaled this morning and it was so amazing. And I was journaling about, creating my heaven on earth experience right now during this time of like global unrest and unsettledness. Bali is trying to let tourists back in and tourism back in. And so as a result of that, there are some changes happening at immigration, and we were in the process of processing our year-long residency permit here in Bali when COVID hit, and so we didn't actually get that process, and so we've been on this emergency stay visa. And over the weekend, immigration came out and said, okay, basically emergency stays are over and you're gonna have 30 days to leave the country. And it was like all this crazy hectic information coming. And it's interesting because I'm like, the old me would have just been completely freaked out and like, oh my God, it was a lot of misinformation coming out, as it does in Bali. It's like so typical. This letter was leaked from immigration. It wasn't an official statement. And so it just gets everyone like in this uproar about what's going on without clear communication. And, just the series of events over the last week in my life have been so interesting. Sean and I decided we wanted to get puppies for the boys for Jack's birthday in a couple of weeks. And so then 2 days later, these puppies show up, these little street dogs that didn't have a home, and we took them in. And so then we messaged the woman that owns the villa that we're staying in, and she was like, nope, no dogs. And we were like, what? Like, everyone has dogs in Bali. It's so crazy. And so I was like, well, obviously it's time for us to move. So then we've been looking at villas. We've been looking at villas for a year, but we had actually found one that we really, really liked. And I was like, okay, it's just time to pull the trigger on that villa. We're going to move. And so then we go into the negotiating process on the villa. And then all of a sudden this immigration thing happens. And it's just like, I just kind of laughed this morning because I was like, wow, this is absolutely the difference in my life now versus a few years ago. Like I was such a planner, such a person that like needed safety, stability, security, needed to know exactly what was happening at all times in order to feel safe, stable, and secure. It's just like today I'm just like, yeah, well, obviously like we need to send the passports over to immigration. We need to figure out this immigration thing. And, we need to get the new villa, and all of this basically has to happen in 2 weeks. And it's like, I don't have a home, I don't have a visa, I have no safety, stability, and security. And I literally am just like, I was journaling this morning and I'm like, everything's gonna work out, everything's always working out in my favor. And it's like, I'm not just saying that, I actually believe it. I actually believe that every single thing that's showing up right now for me, every single thing that's happening in my life right now is happening in my highest and best good, because there's just no other option but that happening. But it feels really good to actually be on board with that and believe it instead of just be saying it. And, so we were talking with Taryn and Max and Sarah, who are in a similar situation yesterday, and we were looking at like, okay, well, which countries are, because worst case scenario, we have to leave Bali for a month, right? And then come back in after they open up to tourists. And so we're like, well, but then there's this whole issue right now of like, if you go to another country, you have to quarantine for 14 days. And it's like in a hotel room. And I'm like, you guys have seen Jack. Like, there's no freaking way I can quarantine Jack into a hotel room for 14 days. We would all lose our minds. I think everyone would be dead at the end of the 2 weeks. And so we were researching yesterday, like, where we can go that's basically ignoring this 14-day quarantine thing and is not, like, being super strict with COVID. And it's like, the options were, like, Egypt, Croatia, the Maldives, and Turkey. And I think one other, and I can't remember. But we were just laughing yesterday because we were just like, oh, look, our lives are so horrible. We're gonna have to leave Bali for a month and go to Croatia for a month. And it's such a different reality. And I just wanted to get on and talk about this and share this because I really believe that it's all a choice. We have a choice in each moment of every day to decide to live our heaven on earth experience. And it is in the decision that the universe can step up and fully support us. And so, if I had entered into a space and a place of lack and scarcity and worry and fear and, oh my gosh, where are we going to live? And oh my gosh, what are we going to do with these dogs? And oh my gosh, what are we going to, what about this visa? Then I would absolutely be perpetuating and calling in all of those things that I don't desire happening in my life. And it's like, I'm just not available for that. What I am available for is everything working out and conspiring in my favor, continuing to live my absolute best life on this beautiful island in this amazing timeline that I'm existing in, and that absolutely everything is always working out in my favor. Everything, like the universe is constantly conspiring in my favor. There's no other option but for that to be true.